Cool.
How are you affected by the Gaza conflict?
Well, it breaks my heart. Obviously, it's sad that so many people are dying, and so many people are losing loved ones simply because one country defies international law so ferociously in the face of the international community. And it's even though there is a lot of vocal support for the Palestinian rights because of the the leverage of power that the U.S. has over the United Nations, and subsequently the inefficacy of international law in terms of its applicability to Israel, we just have to see all the suffering and hear about it all the time. So of course it emotionally affects me in a negative way, just like the Rwandan genocide affects me, and just like, other, you know, um, consequences of occupation and just, subjugation of the human, life to unnecessary torture.
Who do you think is to blame or the cause?
Well, it's, international law says that the Gaza Strip, East Jerusalem, and the West Bank are occupied Palestinian territory. They've been occupied since 1967, so it's 42 years and counting. And if Israel would do us all a big favor and start abiding by international law, maybe, well, we would surely be in a much better position now, for sure.
What do you think needs to happen in order for the conflict to end?
They need to withdraw their troops, and they need to, withdraw the troops and end the occupation, and that would be the first concrete step toward building a Palestinian state based on the pre-1967 borders. That's, of course, in reference to the 1967 war. And, have a Palestinian state that can live peacefully, just like, international law dictates, and just like the consensus of the international community dictates, something that has been suggested for decades now, like we said, and it's not being realized, unfortunately.
How do you believe the conflict affects America?
Well, the conflict is traditionally and contemporarily has been unfortunately fueled by the U.S. governments, I should say, because I'm not speaking public sphere here, simply, official sphere, the government sphere. Of course, there are influences on the government from, interest groups and so forth, but that's a different story. But in terms of the decision-making by the United States government that has continually favored Israel and exhibited such amazingly, unfair, I guess it's a redundant to say unfair bias. You can't say that if it's biased, it's unfair, I guess, by definition in some way, but toward Israel. And because of that, obviously because the U.S. is the sole superpower, and because Israel would not exist, literally, without the United States, then the U.S. is fueling the conflict through its unjust foreign policy strategy toward that conflict.
So would it be fair to say that you would believe that Israel is the
main culprit? Of
yes.
Course. It's not just me, it's people have who have much more knowledge and authority and expertise and etc., whatever you want to name it, in that sphere have repeatedly said so. And it's the record is clear. It just refuses to abide by international law, and the consequence is that it gets away with killing people and torturing people, and just doing all sorts of things that defy any basic sense of humanity, essentially.